California Translation International, Deb and Vic Enterprises, and Evelina Villa. Because I believe this will save the district money, the most money possible. Enterprises and Evelina Villa. Villa. There were 4, and I was choosing 3 because that is more fiscally responsible than the 4th one has much higher cost involved, and it's a replication of the services of California Translation International.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second the motion for discussion.
Board discussion?
And my concern was, we have, actually I'm going to be making another motion as well later, but my concern was this is the first time that it's really been presented to me in this format where I was able to see the replication of services and then the cost difference. And we have 2 companies listed here. I understand we have far more need for Spanish translation, so I understand the 2 independent contractors coming forward with those services. But we have 2 services here for multilingual translation, and the one has been able to service the district for 32 years apparently with 140 languages. And then I see a replication of service, and I see the second contractor entering in at a higher cost, which is not going to save the district any money whatsoever should we be using that service. So that's why I would take the fiscally responsible path of choosing one that's been with the district for 32 years at a lower cost than the other one.
Other board discussion, questions?
Susan, I'd like to ask a question. And my memory is going to have to be refreshed, because when I see CTI and AIS and the acronyms that are used, and I'm not sure of who the players were, but a couple of years ago, before AIS came on board, it was my understanding that the reason that we went back out to find additional services that we were having issues with CTI. And CTI at that point was dropped as a vendor for the district. And I'd like to find out a couple things. Number one, if that is in fact accurate, why would we be bringing CTI back? I mean, this is an extremely important service that needs to be provided for the district. Why would we be extending that opportunity to a vendor that has known issues within the district? So that's the first question.
But I think part of the issue around the release of CTI is that none of the employees that worked currently on this were part of that dismissal process, and so Ms. Duarte can speak to it, but none of she obviously only being here for a year was not part of that dismissal, and neither was Mr. Christopher that's with her. So, but I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. I was not aware of the specifics, Mr. Eberhart, of what caused the dismissal. I did do one reference check on the company with a former employee in the district that's now retired, and pretty much stated that it was a reliable company, mentioned one possible incident. I didn't get details. I did not request details. But when I asked the question, is it somebody that could be reemployed again? It wasn't overwhelming to us in the room that it should not be offered again to this person.
It's a simple question. It sounds like a simple question was asked. Should an opportunity to be for this company to provide services to the district be extended to them? How was that answered? Yes or no?
It was answered at first, I don't know, and then it was answered that it was a reliable company. Chris Chisholm was in the room with me when that happened.
So the employee answered it, they don't
So so that brings me to thank you for clarifying that. So that brings me to the next question. AIS, what has been the performance of AIS over the year? I guess they've been with us for a couple of years,
They've been with us for 2 years, that's correct.
and their performance?
My experience with the AIS translations has been positive. There was only one incident that there was a miscommunication, if you will, that we clarified and we took care of. I don't know, again, the gravity of the other company's situation. I wasn't here. I can only speak to my experience.
So we have a history with a company for the last couple of years. We have a history with a company that was previously with us that was not reemployed. Was there an effort made to reach out to AIS? Because if you go out for an RFP and AIS is providing services to the district and they have the pricing for those services right there on their contract that's available to the public, for the public to view, all CTI has to do is undercut those by $1 an hour, and they look as though, or $5 an hour, and they look as though they're providing services at a much lower rate. So my question would be, was any contact made with AIS to ascertain whether or not that they would match the pricing that was provided, or that was shared here this evening that CTI offered?
During the interview process, we did ask both companies about their flexibility regarding a job, given the fiscal nature of our district. And both companies said that they would be flexible. However, AIS was not as flexible, did not come across as willing to be flexible.
So, as I understand, the recommendation that's been made by staff is that the services be split amongst these four different providers. If we're going to extend that kind of, if staff is recommending that sort of situation, could we also expect that we would be going back to them and saying, if we're going to extend these services or extend this opportunity to you as a vendor, are you willing to match the pricing that's provided by the other
That is
vendors?
correct. That is correct. That is the intent.
Okay.
Well, the dilemma is what we've been presented with is a list of their prices, and their prices are higher, and that's what we're agreeing to then, is a higher price, and I won't agree to that. I'll agree to the lower price with a company that has 32 years of service.
Actually, Mrs. Cooksey, if you correct me if I'm wrong, we're not actually approving tonight contracts. What we're doing is approving tonight the vendors that we would then go and negotiate formalized contracts with, because the contracts are not actually attached to this agenda item. And so, again, I think from what I heard, the intent of the team was to do exactly that prior to bringing contracts back to the board, was to go back to the parties and negotiate comparable prices so that they would be comparable.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the things that was in the RFPs was very specific that price wasn't the only determining factor.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, in the RFP, it was clear that one of the things was price should not be the only determining factor, that we should be looking at everything in totality. And so given the concerns around CTI, we didn't feel putting one forward for you guys to consider was enough.
I mean, frankly, I'm a little, frankly, I'm a little shocked that, that given the fact that there is some knowledge that the vendor was released, that more work wasn't done to determine what exactly had occurred around that release, because my understanding is it was fairly significant issues.
And we tried to talk to employees, but the main person involved is no longer an employee, and wasn't necessarily comfortable fully disclosing some different issues. But I did Ms. Mayo did send me an email earlier today around pricing and costs, and basically, Mr. Richards isn't here, but Nancy Jr. did provide us the last 4 years, so 2-year comparability using each firm, and they were pretty much identical. They came out